I'm sorry, but this was the funniest season of all time.
What are you thinking about? Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Bogdanovich never stopped moving. It's a steal. Robin knocked it free. And Torrey Craig!
It was also pretty wild. And weird.
Monster dump, and what is this? He is riding Walker Kessler.
He's just saddling up right there on Walker Kessler.
We witnessed the Pistons and the Wizards just trying to play basketball.
This is why Pistons are 3-35.
And yet, we've only just scratched the surface of funny, unserious, and flat-out ridiculous moments from season 2024. So over the next 20 minutes, we're going to go through each and every one of them. A season rewind of sorts. Because, well, this season deserves it. So, we start in Denver. And as always, vibes were high on opening night. But things went downhill pretty quickly for the Lakers, as they started their season exactly where they left off in 2023.
Barbecue chicken alert! Barbecue chicken alert!
And so did the Warriors, as they took an L to the new-look Phoenix Suns on opening night. Clearly, Bradley Beal didn't get the memo about load management from Adam Silver. Malik Monk ended Utah's season before it even started.
Look at this Jazz crowd!
And Zion put the league on notice.
The first half, the lobs.
Oh, wow! Somebody done woke up, Joe. Man, somebody done woke up.
But perhaps the most interesting moment from week 1 in the NBA was Wemby's first game.
The first points in the career of Victor Wembanyama.
And one game was all Skip Bayless needed to start hating. But by the second week of the NBA season, we started to realise this kid might be the end of basketball as we know it.
Rockets, advantage, Smith. Oh my, blocked by Wemby, get it out of here!
I don't think any of us were prepared for the in-season tournament. Nevertheless, Steph began his run for Clutch Player of the Year. And the Hornets commentator had another moment in the sun.
Halliburton, nowhere to go! LaMelo's done it! LaMelo's done it!
The Celtics were undefeated through 2 weeks of NBA action. And then Anthony Edwards happened.
Edwards! Yes, sir!
Speaking of Anthony Edwards, in week 3 of the NBA season, Minnesota took a trip to the Bay, and Draymond asked Ant-Man what he was going to do about it.
Andre and Anthony Edwards having a few words. Now, the one thing about putting it down on him.
Well, there's your answer. It's fair to say Draymond was pretty annoyed about what happened, because 2 nights later, he got himself ejected in 1 minute and 43 seconds, and turned the Chase Center into a WWE exhibition center. 3 weeks into the NBA season, the Celtics sat atop the East, while Dallas and Minnesota closed in on Denver for top spot in the Western Conference. Jokic took a hold of the MVP race, followed closely by Embiid, and Wemby just nudged out Chet Holmgren for first place honours in the Rookie of the Year race. But not for long, because in week 4, Chet snatched it right back with this insane shot against the Warriors.
Giddy looking. Holmgren's got it, turns, fires.
Speaking of the Warriors, who could forget when Chris Paul just said, "F it. Today's the day, Scott Foster. We are airing this out right here, right now." Devin Booker was on a tear in week 5, silencing Madison Square Garden with this fadeaway.
Booker puts up a 3. Oh, he puts it in! Devin Booker with the clutch 3.
His teammate Kevin Durant, however, was on a different tear. On Twitter, going back and forth with Adidas.
Oh my God!
And while we're on Golden State and Phoenix, it's fair to say Warriors head coach Steve Kerr was, well, he was sick of playing in Phoenix.
defensively, although in this building you can't hear anything because it's like a club. It's like a South Beach club out there. What are we doing?
But the DJ wasn't letting up.
In this building you can't hear anything because it's like a club. It's like a South Beach club.
In week 6 of the NBA season, Rudy Gobert cemented himself as the defensive player of the year. LeBron was just getting coaches ejected, and the Orlando Magic were just having fun. I'll tell you who wasn't having fun though. Utah Jazz coach Will Hardy, who after 5 weeks of watching his team play, had simply had enough.
That was a masterpiece of dog shit.
The Detroit Pistons weren't having fun either, after going winless in the month of November.
Yeah, we're not 2-26 bad. No way are we that bad.
Yes, you heard that right. Winless. 15 consecutive L's. Pretty insane, right? Well, not as insane as the Indiana Pacers, upsetting the first seed Boston Celtics in the quarterfinals of the in-season tournament.
Naismith drops the hammer.
And then the Bucks in the semifinals.
Halliburton tries another three. Bang! Timeout Bucks. It's an 8-point lead.
Unfortunately, they couldn't go all the way against the Lakers. But maybe that was for the best. Following the in-season tournament and 7 weeks of play, nothing much changed in the Eastern Conference. Boston, Milwaukee, and the Sixers were still dominating. Denver slipped to third in the West, and the Timberwolves claimed the number 1 seed. Embiid overtook Jokic for the first time in the MVP race, and Chet, after a few good weeks, had overtaken Victor Wembanyama in the Rookie of the Year race. Week 8 was ridiculous. Ayo Dosunmu put up a stat line Tony Snell would be proud of. Dillon Brooks returned to Memphis under, well, different circumstances, and had something to say. Steve Kerr and the Warriors returned to Phoenix. And then it happened again. Draymond was suspended indefinitely. But the most chaotic thing that happened that week was when Giannis dropped the franchise record 64 points against the Indiana Pacers. But there was one problem. He didn't get the game ball. So he took his anger out the following game on the Pistons, who still hadn't won a game since October. Jalen Brunson dropped a career-high 50 points a few days later, and Julius Randle made sure he got his game ball. Pure assery, and I love it. The lead up to Christmas was pretty wild. James Harden was loving life in Los Angeles.
Away from their 8th straight win. No way. Oh my goodness!
We all probably know why. Jimmy Butler returned to Chicago with a point to prove.
Butler, step back for the win. Yes!
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander called game on the Nuggets.
Spinning, hanging for the lead, and SGA knocks it down.
Steph continued to prove his haters wrong. I'm telling you, the man is clutch. Ja made it clear he had unfinished business. And the Lakers raised banner number 18.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the...
And so it was Christmas. Luka Doncic got the best of Devin Booker yet again. The Celtics faced off against the Lakers. I'll be honest, the game was pretty ordinary. Perhaps the most interesting moment came at the end, when Jason Tatum shamelessly avoided this turnover. The Pistons took the Celtics to overtime a few days later, but they fell short yet again, and with that loss, they tied the NBA record for most consecutive losses in a single season. 28 consecutive L's. 28. But would you believe, just days after making history, for all the wrong reasons, they finally did it. We had an insane game on New Year's Eve in Minnesota. Ant-Man was cooking, and LeBron hit a game-tying 3 with just seconds left.
LeBron got it!
Or so he thought.
No, they're calling it a 2.
To be fair, the man was right. Unfortunately, things got even worse for the King in the new year, somehow getting stripped by this high schooler twice in one game. Josh Hart couldn't believe Donte DiVincenzo didn't go up and get this pass.
That might be the worst pass I've ever seen from in an NBA game.
And Jokic was just doing Jokic things.
Jokic for the win! Oh! And the Nuggets win it!
The Raptors visited the Lakers in Week 12. D'Lo couldn't believe this fan just won $100,000. Clearly, he was less interested in the game. But the Lakers got the job done. Although it's fair to say Raptors coach Darko Rajokovic wasn't too happy about it.
What happened tonight, this is completely BS. This is shame. Scotty Barnes,
he's going to be the face of this league.
he gets 2 free throws for the whole game. How are you going to explain that to me? They had to win tonight? If that's the case, just let us know so we don't show up for the game.
After 13 weeks of NBA action, Damian Lillard finally got his moment in Milwaukee.
3 seconds, stay posed.
And so did Thanasis. For about 4 seconds, until he was late getting back on offense, missed this rebound, and gave Donovan Mitchell a wide open dunk. The Clippers couldn't stop laughing after Gobert airballed this free throw. And maybe for everybody's sake, it's best if the commentators just stick to commentating.
Austin Reed, and I'll tell you why after LeBron scores on this break.
Which brings us to week 14, one of my favourite weeks of the NBA season, because this is where things really start to heat up. Karl Anthony Towns dropped 44 points in a half against the Charlotte Hornets. Joel Embiid dropped 70.
70?
Oh, and a few days later, Luka Doncic just casually dropped 73 points on the Atlanta Hawks. It was a week of firsts for Wemby. His first Shamgod, his first bat sighting. Giannis was scanning a QR code in the middle of a game. Unserious baller. Draymond was catching bodies as the Warriors and the Lakers played a double overtime thriller.
3-pointers up. Bang! Time! Curry from downtown.
By week 15 in the NBA, Embiid was probably the biggest lock to win the MVP since Steph Curry in 2016. And then Nuggets fans baited him into playing against the Warriors.
And Embiid is down. Joel Embiid is down on the ground.
Kevin Durant returned to Brooklyn and had some choice words for his former teammate Cam Thomas.
And Kevin Durant says mini.
While Wemby was genuinely making his opponents look mini over in Washington. Like, bro, what is this? So, what do you know? 15 weeks, Minnesota and OKC were still tied for the first seed in the Western Conference. Over in the East, Boston began to pull away. Jokic took back first place honours in the MVP race, and Wemby's stronghold on the Rookie of the Year trophy was growing by the day. Week 16 in the NBA, and Pat Bev was on his way to Milwaukee to link up with Damian Lillard.
Hey, so who else on the team?
It was at this moment that he knew. He f***ed up.
Fair to say there's some history between those two. Jose Alvarado struck again, whilst up 41 points. Like, can you imagine being down 41 points and this happens? I'm honestly just throwing hands at that point. Anyway, over in Milwaukee, Thanasis continued to prove his haters wrong.
It's got a pull. Let's go, Thanasis.
I'll tell you who actually proved their haters wrong though. D'Angelo Russell, who averaged 20, 7, and 5 in the month of February. I'm going to be honest, week 17 in the NBA was pretty boring, and so was the All-Star game, so we won't waste any time on that. Week 18, however, started off with a bang. Or should I say, with this lady calling Kevin Durant a bitch, then instantly regretting it. Kyrie was back and cooking. Nothing seemed to be going right for Jordan Poole and the Wizards. And Scotty Barnes hit Mikal Bridges with his own signature celly. But I don't think anything could have prepared us for week 19. We started off with an all-in brawl in Minnesota. This dude brought back the chokehold move on Jimmy Butler. And then, after a well-fought game over in San Francisco, Steve Clifford and Steve Kerr went to shake hands. But Draymond had other ideas. And then, over in Cleveland, the impossible happened. With 5 weeks to go in the NBA season, Boston had well and truly pulled away from the Cavs and the Bucks in the East. Over in the West, however, things were getting extraordinarily tight. Minnesota had a 1-game buffer on the Thunder, and Denver was starting to find some form after the All-Star break. In week 20, Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama faced off in a Rookie of the Year showdown. I won't sugarcoat it, Wemby pulled his pants down.
Trying to answer, he is stuffed and taken away!
Then had this to say to the Spurs crowd post-game. It was at this moment, everyone realised that from 2025 on, this is Wemby's league. Things were starting to click for the Bucks. And the Lakers, as they took apart Oklahoma City. However, things weren't necessarily clicking for Javon Carter over in Chicago. In week 21, we saw Anthony Edwards literally hit his head on the rim as he got up for this game-winning block.
He hit his head under the backboard.
After a slow start to his NBA career, Jalen Green began to show some promise over in Houston.
Green. Oh my goodness!
He led them on an 11-game winning streak and a league-best 13-2 record in the month of March. And speaking of young guns, Warriors rookie Trace Jackson Davis was the first player to put Wemby on a poster. A different Jackson was getting up in Milwaukee, and De'Aaron Fox simply could not believe what he was seeing. And neither could Slow-Mo Anderson when Anthony Edwards launched into outer space. Week 22 was interesting, to say the least. Because we had 2 more game winners. Kyrie with this flat-out ridiculous left-handed fadeaway floater, or whatever you call that. And over in Detroit, Bam was rubbing salt in the wounds of the Pistons. The Dallas Mavericks were beginning to click in week 23, and it wouldn't be right if we didn't acknowledge the season Luka Doncic was having. Averaging 33, 9, and 9. A damn near triple-double. And a stat line no one else in the history of basketball has accomplished for an entire season. On a less serious note, Chris Paul called referee Tony Brothers a TikToker and got himself ejected with less than 6 seconds remaining. With 2 weeks to go in the NBA season, Jokic was still in command of the MVP trophy, but Luka was making a late charge. Wemby was running away with the Rookie of the Year crown, and things were getting loud in the Western Conference, especially in the race for the play-in. Dallas, Phoenix, Sacramento, and the Lakers all fighting for guaranteed playoff positioning. The Warriors were also lurking, but they were in danger of falling out of the play-in altogether as a red-hot Houston closed in. So when they visited Orlando in week 24, it was a must-win game. But clearly no one told Draymond Green, who got himself ejected in 3 minutes and 36 seconds. Utterly ridiculous. Steph was genuinely emotional. And despite all of that, the Warriors ended up winning anyway. But perhaps the funniest moment of the night was when Draymond dapped up Steph back in the locker room, looked dead straight at the camera, and said, "F it, I'll do it again." Houston, however, was still on their tail as they went into Oklahoma City and stunned the Thunder.
Warriors, come out to play!
But their quest for the 10th seed didn't last long, and the Warriors let them know about it. The final week of the NBA season was filled with chaos. Paul George was breaking ankles.
Clippers lead by 2!
And so was his protege, Brandon Miller.
What just happened?
Heading into the final day of the season, Minnesota, Denver, and Oklahoma City still, quite literally, couldn't be separated. Until the Nuggets blew a 20-point lead to the 14th place San Antonio Spurs.
And they're showing the San Antonio score on the scoreboard.
But maybe the play of the season was from Big Boban, who was quite happy to miss a second free throw and give the Clippers fans free chicken.
Here's your job. Oh, he gave him chicken. He's a man of the people.
Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, peace out.